Alright, this is Schmumbler, and this is Studio System Guardian Angel. We're going to be doing an A ending normal run, so let's go. So, Studio System is kind of a traditional survival horror game, but with a little extra gimmick. This game does utilize fixed camera angles to an extent. However, the twist is that you actually are able to gain control of the camera in this game and use it as a weapon. So, not quite fixed. They are fixed angles, but then when you take control of them, you can like turn them around, shoot them like a gun. You can also use them to grab physics objects throughout the world in order to either damage enemies with them, move them out of the way, or solve puzzles with them, that kind of stuff. In the meantime, we have to go through a little prologue area first. So, Becky is the girl on the left, that's our player character. We don't look like her usually because we're using a skin, but the girl on the right is Tomorrow. She's pretty much our only friend. But she is a student at the school that we go to, but she's also a manager for a convenience store called Seven & Sons. There's a third friend of ours that we're going to be meeting shortly, whose name is Jasmine, and she's kind of just cold and seemingly emotionless. And what happens is Jasmine tells us that she found an abandoned film studio underneath the school and tells us to go check it out. So we do. Because why wouldn't you? So there's Jasmine in the blue. However, once we get into this room here, something happens, and this is when we're suddenly able to take control of the camera. So immediately going to use it to slide that door over. Going to grab some lockpicks because we're locked in here and we need to get our way out. And I'm sure our friends are fine. Anyway, now we have fallen into some alternative dimension form of the school and film studio. We meet this face that asks us to choose a pact. And the pact doesn't really do much gameplay-wise. It's just you have 3 different gameplay mechanics that you can engage with if you choose. And based on your health pact at the end, or your pact health at the end of the game, that's what determines what ending you get. But since we're going for A ending, which is the alternative or secret ending, we're not going to worry about that. So now we're in the school, gotta solve some puzzles to get some blocks or some bars out of the way to access another room. So I'm gonna grab a key here. Gonna move this out of the way and then immediately use it to kill that guy. So we've got blue bars and yellow bars out of the way. That means that this room is now accessible. And in here we're going to meet Wendigo Solace. Wendigo is not a student in the school. We're not really sure who she is, or why she's here for that matter. But she does give us a thermos that contains a fluid that dissolves organic matter. And since we're now on our way to meet up with Tomorrow by the pool, we need that to dissolve this fleshy goop stuff. You'll also see as I play through the game, I'm going to be collecting some red caps like that. Those are what allow us to do the secret ending. There's 9 of them in total, but we only need 6 of them to actually trigger the ending. There's our friendly face guy again. You can change your pact there if you want, but it's the last chance that you get to do so. Now coming in here, this thing attaches to our face. We have to grab it off with the camera in order to proceed. Later in the game, there's going to be enemies that are like that, but like floating eyeballs. And they'll just slow you to a walk. and eventually damage you over time, but they're most deadly by slowing you down while other enemies are nearby. So now we've met up with Tomorrow. She tells us that there is an escape, but she won't tell us where it is until we get her some food. So we're gonna head to her convenience store, the Seven & Sons, to try to find something. That said, you can go inside the convenience store, but it's empty, so instead we're going to be going to the roof, because obviously that's where you would keep your food. That board you're actually supposed to grab with the camera, but I find it's easier to just run into it and move it with your body weight. No eyeballs, please. We're looking good. Yeah, we're good. So now we have the food. We're going to jump off the roof and get back to Tomorrow. Ooh, worst spawn you could have. But we made it onto the walkway, which is a lot harder than you would think, because there is no depth perception there. Okay, we've brought the food to Tomorrow. Tomorrow puts us in a, like, machine elevator thing, but it doesn't actually make us leave, it just brings us to this weird dimension. So now we're even more stuck than we already were. We need to figure out a way out. So we've got this puzzle with a spinning bridge. There's two spinners that you're supposed to utilize in order... Oh, no. Well, that's okay. We'll just wait for it to turn to the right orientation again. But yeah, you would normally move this bridge around the whole room, spinning it between the two spinners in order to line it up properly. But you can just cut the corner like that and call it a day. Then here we have two floating platforms that we're supposed to alternate, but you can just kind of walk yourself across like that. And that's way quicker, so that's what we're going to do. Now we're coming up on our first boss, which is going to be familiar, kind of. Because it's going to be Tomorrow, but Tomorrow has a new look. And by new look, I mean she's a doppelganger monster. So she's going to do some swipe attacks and some spin attacks in order to hurt us. If we run out of ammo during this fight, it'll drop a 4-pack for us, which is very nice because you can only hurt her with the camera. So this would be a soft lock if you actually ran out of ammo. Then you also have these blocks that are coming in from the wall. They do damage you, and, well, they're really random, so you really just can't do anything about them. You just hope that they don't stun lock you into an attack from Tomorrow and kill you. So that fight, I did take more damage than I would have liked, but it was nice, quick, and clean, so we'll take it. And now that she's gone, we're heading back to the school. We're kind of just back to square one here. Things have changed a little bit now that Tomorrow's gone. We've got these little flowers on the ground that slow us as we walk across. These flower enemies that are pretty tanky and pretty quick, so we're just gonna avoid them. Gonna pick up this health on the ground. So our next goal is going to be to search for the gymnasium, because the entrance into the film studio was in the gym. So we're thinking maybe if we go back where we came in from, then we can just leave. Of course, that's not really gonna be how that works. But we gotta find that out the hard way. To get into the gym, because it is locked right now, we actually need to go back into a room we've already been in. It's slightly changed in its appearance, and now there's a key. And that key opens the room that we first met Wendigo in, except now there's going to be a puzzle waiting for us. This puzzle gives you like a story that you're supposed to figure out which these boxes to move when you figure it out, but the answer is always the same. It's always the second and the fourth one. And there's a key in this trash can, so we're going to shake it. There we go. Sometimes the key is more forthcoming than others. This spiral staircase, you can actually get on top of the rail, but you can't just fall to the bottom because there's an invisible wall behind the rail anyway. Grab the red metal there. And then since we're out of ammo, the game graciously gives us a bonus 2-pack there. We're going to take that because we want to go ahead and start stashing up ammo for the next boss, which is still quite a ways away. For now, we have an elevator that has no power, so we need to turn on the power using 2 transformer switches. First one is locked behind a different door, so we have to grab this key. Use it to get into this room. All right. So there's one switch. And the other one is down here in the basement from hell. There's a bunch of boxes here and 3 enemies, and their positioning is completely random. So sometimes you just get cornered and stun locked, and yeah, not pleasant. That went pretty well though. So now the elevator's powered. We can head on up. Nope, don't get stuck. Thank you. This guy, keep him in mind. We'll be seeing him later. The power of foreshadowing. Alright, now that we're done with that, we need to make our way through a cave. I always take this path. It's super easy to remember. You just go right every time. Apparently, there's not really any wrong path unless you keep changing which path you're taking. If you go all lefts, it eventually takes you to the end. If you go all rights, it takes you to the end. And from what I've seen, it doesn't even really seem like there's any time difference between the different paths either. But that's it. Now we're out. I'm going to grab a little bonus ammo here. And we're going to immediately drown ourselves, because this warps us over here. And then we can grab this battery. Reset our position again. And we're going to take it up to a generator up here in order to unlock another door. Also grab that metal. And then we want to fall anyway because it's quicker than walking back, but also there's a 4-pack of ammo there. And through this door. Say hello to this enemy. It's the only enemy of this type in the entire game, and all we do is just run past it because it's too slow. So now we're going to meet back up with Wendigo. She tells us that her actual name is Lisa. We think that it sounds familiar, but we're not sure why. And then we're tasked with finding 2 journal scraps in order to get the password for the door out of here. However, we're not actually going to collect 2 journal scraps because there's a secret area. So normally I would get rid of these red pillars here and climb up the building. But instead what I'm going to do is once I get rid of the pillars... There we go. Second one. I'll actually backtrack. Because now there's a ramp over here and there's a gap in the fence. Yeah, please don't hit me. Okay, so now that we've gone through there, we found a key. That key goes to this door. Right over here. And inside this is a blue wall that if we grab with the camera, takes us into this secret top-down perspective area. And if we can get through here without dying, which I'm actually going to heal real quick, then we get the entire password in one go. And this one path is actually quicker than the shortest of the 2 paths that you would otherwise have to take. I would rather not get hit here. There's one hit. Just one hit though, that's fine. Alright, we have our journal piece. Skip a cutscene, have this weird little flashback sequence. This is our first kind of indicator that the camera is its own separate character. And that we're not actually playing Becky, but rather this spirit who's looking over us, hence Guardian Angel. But with that, now we're backtracking. Everything's a little louder, though. And the door that was unlocked was not one that was actually in that room. It's one at the top of the hills out here. So we need to avoid the waters. If we get caught by them, then we do die. Which would be a shame since we haven't saved this entire run. Grab that ammo. Yeah, now we're being chased by an enemy for some extra tension, but don't really have to worry about him. Now, I heard you were a fan of Silent Hill 2. Well, we have our own version of the long stairwell. It is, in fact, just a very long stairwell. No trickery involved. Just a stairwell, but long. There's a lot of references in this game to Silent Hill specifically. The hallway leading to Tomorrow, where it gets all bloody, is very Silent Hill 3. And of course, what would a Silent Hill aspiring game be if we didn't have a bottomless pit to jump into? So now we're in a little maze, and this is going to be where we encounter our second boss. Come in here and Wow, okay. I really figured that would have killed you. I feel like I had enough ammo. There we go. Anyway, at least it didn't get hit. Now that that's done, we have more maze, this time in water, and we're going to be getting a monologue kind of explaining the purpose of this facility. Because as it turns out, yes, it was a film studio, but the film studio was being used for a purpose, which was to um, create a false god or something like that. I don't know. It doesn't really matter for the speedrun, other than the false god has something to do with the giant head that we formed our pact with. Shocking. Jasmine's the bad one. Who would have thought? Alright, new area. So here we're locked in a cell. We're going to talk to Morrow, who is not actually dead, who's going to push a button to let us out. We're going to grab this because we do have a fight that's going to be happening later. Now here I want to be careful to actually grab the box, because if I don't grab the box on my first time, then the box becomes completely uninteractable and the game soft locks. Ask me if I've done that in a run before. Alright, gonna grab that. So now we've got this bit. It seems like a pretty straightforward path, but when you get to the door, it tells you, or it gives you a riddle that basically just comes out to, hey, do another lap. That said, you don't actually have to do a full extra lap. All you have to do is get to this last screen and turn around. Now the fun part. We have another of those moving platforms. So the big issue with this is the camera changes, because if the camera changes while I'm holding a platform, then yeah, the platform just jerks off, or jerks away like that. Oh, shit. Oh, great. I just broke the platform. God damn it. Nope. Never mind. Usually when it disappears like that, that means that it's lost all collision forever, and that is another way that the game can soft lock. Okay, but we're still good. That was so messy. Oh, wow. But hey, we made it. through that. Now I get to say hi to Tomorrow and Jasmine again. Right before we slide off into a pit. Alright, so now we have a series of puzzles where we need to collect an eyeball. But first we have to get rid of all these pillars that are in the way. So first we get rid of the gray then the blue, which are both just right there. We come across to here. It's very hard to avoid that hit. Gonna go ahead and heal because there's another very difficult to miss attack. I'm gonna swerve just wide of this guy because this is one that likes to hit me. And then there's our eyeball. Nice dodge. We're gonna fall early to get this key. Which will allow us to go through here and continue on. And now we have a balance beam section. And this is the big reason why the arrow at our feet is so helpful. Because this allows us to be much more quick to judge whether we're going to fall or not. This part always makes me really nervous. I don't care about the balls. I have enough health to heal myself, so if I do get hit by them, I just deal with it like that. Not the end of the world. Not to mention there's only one enemy left in the entire game, and we should be able to just kill it without even getting close enough for it to attack us, which is good because it kills us in one hit anyway. Good drop. All right, here we go. We get our bat back. And we have just enough ammo to take care of him. So here's our buzzsaw guy that I talked about earlier. He's back. And now he's gone. 8 shots to kill. But yeah, even if I was at full health, it would kill me in one hit. Okay, so here's a part where these little white angel orb things are present. You grab those with your camera in order to change your camera angle, which would have let you see a key. But you can just reach the key, so you don't even have to change the camera, just run towards it and grab it. This area, there's a point where the camera will go into a duct system, And it's supposed to be a puzzle where you have to like swap between or possess different cameras over and over until the camera gets all the way out of the ducts. But you can just see the platform here and drag it over. And yeah, instead of doing this stuff, I'll just get to the door eventually and it doesn't matter. Hooray. So now we get rid of our bat because otherwise the thing won't move. We don't need it because we've already collected 6, but here's the final red emblem, or red medal, or red cap, whatever you want to call it. And this is the end of the general path of the game. Anything after we fall into this pit here depends on your ending. So like red ending just kind of cuts it there and then. Yellow has another boss fight. Blue puts you through a labyrinth, and then red, or yep, alternative, you'll see here shortly. Alright, so we have a first-person section here. There's a bunch of ammo and pills, but we don't need them, so I'm not going to bother with them. I'm just going to head straight to the door. And there's a clock above us. I'm going to immediately look up. And that's going to trigger our epilogue, an alternative timeline where we meet with Jasmine in the future, and she has us play this cat game. So we need to collect 30 yarn, and that'll be it. I'm gonna drop off here to get a respawn, which is quicker than running back. There's our 30th, and time. And as of the time of this recording, that is actually a world record run, so heck yeah. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the game. And thank you.